welcome to Ultiori. It is Dumb Movie Monday, and we did say that we were gonna come out with these interesting low-budget movies on Monday. So our next adventure is one that's a very strange concept, because the sand is lava. Like, literally, that's the premise of this movie. Alright, let's see what White Walkers we have to slay in this one. So right off the bat, I'm getting some serious Tremor vibes. It starts with a summer beach party, introducing Kaylee, whose boyfriend left her for some other girl. For some reason, she's sticking around.
Actually, I changed my mind.
The party is wild and everyone's having fun. I personally don't see what the whole fun thing is, but everyone's just getting drunk. You don't remember the fun you had anyway the next day, but whatever. They find this weird mucus-covered turd on the beach, and they're so drunk they don't even consider that it might be something strange.
It's gooey.
That's not gonna burn.
Making a point to show that someone left the headlights on in their car, and everyone knows that when the car's not on, you leave the headlights on, the batteries drain. Yes, there are tits in this movie. Notice also there were a lot of people at that party that night. Now that it's morning time, you're expected to see a whole bunch of people just scattered all over the sand, naked and drunk and unaware of what happened the night before. Everybody huddled up with their partner last night, and as the morning kisses their faces, they slowly start to wake up. Our adventure's just beginning. Kaylee can't get over that her boyfriend's with someone else. Bare-chested girl starts to wake up, and she's the focus of the start of our adventure.
Marsha, I can see your nipples.
I can see them.
Don't look at her nipples. Where's your top, Hick?
Poor Marcia gets sick before she can get her bearings. Why is this fun when you wake up feeling sick the next morning? I get a little bit of alcohol to get yourself bold and whatnot, but so much that you're so twisted in the morning doesn't seem very appealing to me. But then again, I'm an introvert nerd, so parties in general don't appeal to me. Unless it's a super smash party. Okay. Marcia's in the final stretch of her vomit, and this is the response that Kaylee's ex gives.
That was amazing. They were like chunks. Shit.
Okay, someone has a vomit fetish. Like, you know, in those situations, maybe keep it to yourself. Doesn't take very much for these people to be entertained, does it? No, he should do voluntary work to help take care of cancer patients who are going through chemotherapy, and every time they vomit, just give a standing ovation and tell them how excellent that performance was. Freaking weirdo. While everyone's watching Marcia, Kaylee recognizes something strange going on in the sand. A seagull is stuck, and then it disappears like something pulled it underneath. Holy crap! We know that this means Marcia's in trouble.
Marsha, don't touch the sand!
Yeah, don't touch the sand.
Okay. Maybe you shouldn't touch alcohol, buddy, if this is what it makes you. Right now, you are the cringiest person there. Of course, at first, everyone thinks Marcia's joking until she starts panicking. This is how our adventure escalates. Realizing that Marcia's really in danger, Pretty Boy goes out to help her and then does the worst fall down ever. Same thing that got Marcia in the sand now has him as well. Captain Cringe goes out to help, but his new girlfriend is like, no, don't you see everyone else is getting stuck out there? Why would you do that? This dude is screaming bloody murder because whatever has him is causing him excruciating pain. And of course, they can't start the car. Everyone is desperately trying to find a way to save this guy. The guys in the watchtower thing are getting ropes to try and throw to him. It's a freaking nightmare. But everything that they try to do, it's too late. My. If you really take the time to really consider this movie, it can be very hilarious. But I do like the effects that they did there.
Oh my god, baby! No!
She sounds like a hungry cat in heat.
No!
I swear she's like the worst actress in this movie. Somebody didn't spend enough time with their lines. She probably would have done a better job if the director told her to just act shell-shocked. Don't say anything, just whimper and act shell-shocked. The speaking definitely gives away that she is not an actress.
You saw the sand! The sand ate him! It devoured him! It was chemicals!
What?
Chemicals! There was a spill or something, like oil or something!
Oh boy. I mean, I have seen worse, but just because she's not at the far end of the spectrum doesn't mean she's not in that spectrum at all.
That's bullshit. Oil does not do that. Well, the fucking Quickie Loop guy would earn more than fucking minimum wage.
It was the government!
We get a first look at what looks like little tiny alien hairs coming out of the sand. This is responsible for tearing people apart. Fluffy man in a can starts to wake up. How did they do that to this poor guy? Oh my god, how did they manage to even put him in there?
What is it? There's something in the sand.
Sit tight. I'm jammed in a fucking trash can, Mitch. It hurts, dude. It really hurts.
I really honestly feel sorry for this poor person. Do you understand, like, how mad he would be getting up and he can't even move? I think the only thing that makes him believe them is the fact that everybody's still there, staying exactly where they are.
Hang in there, okay? Get some rest or something.
Says Emo Kid as he heads back into the house-like structure with shade. Several hours pass by, and it seems like nobody's coming out to that beach, so they have to try and do something to get out of their situation. And some of them start to put it together.
Oh, God.
What?
You, don't speak. Just don't. Jesus Christ, this broad is ruining my experience.
Not everyone.
What'd I just say? Well, that's their response to them finally figuring out that that's why there's no one of the partygoers around. Because the sand ate them in the middle of the night, and they were so conked out, I guess they didn't hear them screaming for help. What did you guys drink? Absinthe?
Oh, shit. This is a prank. I'm gonna fuck you guys up when I get out of here. I'm gonna fuck you up.
I totally understand. That is a dick on his face. That is a whole set of male reproductive organs on the side of his face. This man is going to die in a trash can with a flesh knife drawn on his face. And being that it's so hot, the sun's probably gonna bake it in there for quite a bit of time. When you're sitting around on a beach unable to enjoy it because some hairy finger things are living inside of the sand, you start to observe things very closely. They start to figure out what happened that night, and they remember the gooey mucus-covered turd that conveniently is now closer to the water and broken in two as if something hatched out of it. So they're not just dealing with some kind of tiny little creature thing. Something legit is in the sand. There's a creature in there devouring people.
I don't believe in monsters.
Someone stuffed this girl in the trunk. Speaking of the trunk, all their cell phones, by the way, if you're wondering what happened, there was a rule when they were having the beach party that no cell phones were allowed. And normally you'd be okay with this until, like, hindsight's 2020, you know? So they can't get in the car because the trunk is closed. It doesn't have a release button, so somebody has to go back there.
So it's alive?
Seriously, what is the matter with this woman? Couldn't they find anybody else? There are dogs that are better actors than this human being. God, there's always that one person in these movies that just gets my goat. I mean, releases my goat. Oh, I hate saying that thing. Vomit fetish guy decides that he's gonna be a hero and he has a bright idea, and I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I'd be thinking. Use the surfboards. Don't know how they were fitting in the car. Did we see them before in the car? I didn't recognize them there, but whatever. Put the surfboards down and step on it since this thing clearly doesn't eat through metal or plastic inorganic objects. Good to see there's something else on your mind other than chunks coming out of beautiful girls' mouths.
Look, they're moving.
Shut up, Blondie. Yes, they are moving. Good observation. People can see that. And no, the surfboards don't have a mind of their own. The finger things are moving the surfboards aside, which does not make sense. Now here's where the ridiculous happens. He starts slipping the surfboard from out of under Vomit Boy's legs, so they can detect that he is a living thing right above them, the surface of the sand, but they can't reach him, right? Wrong! Now they can, because consistency is not a thing in this movie. Tickle, 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 who's got your belly? How is it that they have grown extensions and now they can reach a whole freaking foot off the ground? When little girl had put her fingers up to the sand, they were like, ooh, what's this? Can't reach more than an inch from out the sand. Now they see this guy and they're like, this guy likes vomit too, must grab him. Let's grow like a foot longer out of the sand. If they could grow that long from the beginning and they really wanted to get at their prey, why were they moving the surfboards? Why didn't they just extend themselves over the surfboard and grab him? Like, what is happening here? But I might have a theory as to why this is the case, but we'll wait till after the adventure to hear it. Because if you just take it at face value, it makes no sense until I say what I'm going to say. Anyways, Vomit Drinker Boy is hurt. He got tickled in his belly, and it is searing pain. He describes it as a sting of a jellyfish times 1,000. Fortunately, he made it to the table.
It's poison. What? It's poison. That's why it hurts so bad, because he barely touched it.
Christ on a rosary, please come off the cross and put me there instead. Vomit Boy passed out for a while, but he was able to get to a handbag where there's food and drinks, and he realizes something. The fire pit where the fire had been obviously the night before, the finger things can't reach it. But, you know, his fingers are hovering over the sand and all of a sudden they can't reach him like they were reaching before. What, you're not in the mood to tickle anymore? Freaking movie. Taking a stupid risk, he jumps down into the sand, both feet first, and realizes that the things don't come up through that part of the sand where the fire had been the night before. And he's like, it's the fire, guys! Newsflash, there's no fire there. I don't know why they wouldn't be, because they're, you know, whatever. Maybe it's the smell. He eats his well-deserved banana. I mean, the guy risked his life to go over there, so I was like, why isn't he throwing everybody else stuff? But he deserves that. He deserves that. Why is her mouth open so wide? And I guess that's a turn on.
Oh my god, Jonah, your stomach.
Cover your eyes, boys. We're about to see some finger-licking good abs. Not really. Jonah has to work quickly. Yes, Vomit Boy's name is Jonah, and I only know that because they were calling his name like constantly while his abs were swelling up. Feeling really sick, he still pushes through to throw everyone a drink because they've not had a drink in so long. And on the beach, it's kind of like the desert, you know, except that you have a nice cool breeze coming off the water with hairy razor blades coming out of the sand. Gilbert's honestly the one I feel worse for in this movie, but good catch. Can you imagine if he missed and he couldn't reach down and get it? Water bottle wasted! That guy caught it mid-twist while stuck in a trash can. Popular soda brand commercials continue as he tries to toss a Pepsi to his ex-girl and the guy. You know, the sounds. Oh my god, freaking A. They did a good job with makeup, I can tell you that. That's freaking. Ah. So in case you don't really know what's going on, all those little blisters that that stingy thing caused him on his abs, they're popping. Yeah, like pop. Snap, crackle, popping. This guy is in a lot of pain. To make matters worse, this finger sand monster thing is moving the surfboards, so Vomit Boy has no way to get back to the car. Clear that no one's coming, they have to make a move to get the cell phones out of the trunk. So Bad Acting Girl is like, let me go. I have to redeem myself for my horrible acting. She needs the keys to open the trunk. Of course the car is made like this, because that was my first thing. Why don't they just release the trunk and open it? You can't have things too easy in a horror movie. Right on the digits. Yeah, dude, her fingers are gone. Anybody here has had that experience when they've closed the trunk on their fingers, like on their digits? Did you come out without your fingers? Like, what happens? I don't really want to know. I don't know why I asked. Someone's here to save the day because an officer tries to run them off the beach, and guess what? He's not getting affected.
What's on your face, pal? What? You got a dick on your face.
Take a good look at it, because that's the one your mama sucked last night. This officer's just going around insulting everyone because he thinks that they're all druggies. And honestly, they always do a horrible job at explaining what's happening to them when somebody actually comes to help. The sand is eating people! Like, that wouldn't have been my first thing to say. I would have said something along the lines of, there's snakes under there, like venomous snakes. Or honestly, in that situation, anything you say is gonna make it sound like you're tweaking.
I'm gonna come up.
Please just call somebody.
Do not make me use force, ma'am. Do not make me use force.
Dude, what's with that voice crack? Anyways, poor guy. His plan to take them in is not working out so well. And of course he goes to reach for the pepper spray to use force, drops his keys, and gets stuck. Great. First of all, who grabs their keys like that when it falls? Like, you use your index finger and your thumb to pick it up. Why is he yonking his entire hand over a clump of sand just to pick up his keys? What the hell? How many of you knew he was going to end up on his face in some way, shape, or form at some point? Try to help out Mr. Officer Boo-Hoo and tell him to use the pepper spray. I really do feel sorry for this poor man. Using the pepper spray, the monsters momentarily let go. The officer stands up, minus his whole arm. Don't worry guys, the adventure is getting wetter and tighter. Having enough, Emo Kid is like, throw me a towel, the shoes are the answer, and he falls down into the freaking sand.
Fuck! Oh shit! What happened to me? No!
It's just dead, dude. He touched the lava. You can't touch the lava. Don't lunge for things over the lava. I know we heard that wood snap when he tried to catch the Pepsi before. Like, my brain registers stuff like that and I remember. How did he not? These movies.
Oh, no!
Bitch dies a horrific death, and then the girls are like, you know what, we're gonna do something about it. It's kind of weird how you punish the girl, but the guy gets away scot-free. Like, he's the one that stuck in it, whatever. I will never understand girls fighting over guys, especially if your guy left you. You know, he left. Move on. He's tenderizing another meat entree. Go find another meat knife.
You good? For now.
Revenge is always high on everyone's bucket list when they know they're gonna die. Vomit guy's like, I love you, Kaylee, I always have. Yeah, okay, sure, buddy. Honestly, he's not looking too good. Meanwhile, they tell Gilbert to turn around because they have a plan. First, they must free bad actress. Okay, honestly, she's redeemed herself. She's horrible at dialogue. When it comes to screaming in pain and looking like she's really hurt, she really does a good job. Unless the director pulled a Stanley Kubrick and actually shoved something up her folds to cause excruciating pain. Regardless, it was easier watching her. Seeing out the wooden boards from the beach house, they make their way to the table to go see Vomit Boy. Ronnie's the last one to come over, and I can already tell because she's holding her hand in the bandages and catching her freaking blood that she's gonna lose her balance. Like, dude, get there first before you do all of that. They have the bright idea to put the pepper spray on the sand, give her time to get up and make her escape. What does she do?
I'm okay.
She continues to lie on the sand. Look, oh my god, dudes. Like, what in the hell? Do people in horror movies lack adrenaline? Like, as soon as I touched the sand with my hairs, I would have been in vampire stance back up on that table. I get that she was scared, but everybody's first instinct is to get up as fast as possible and struggle. Instead, she lies there and she's like, I'm okay, guys.
Okay, I'm okay.
Are you sure about that?
We got you.
And there goes another one. Notice how the fingers start to get longer when they sense blood, because now Fluffy Guy is bleeding. Man-stealer girl is like, you know what, screw this, I am booking it for that policeman's car. And good on her, she gets there, and Gilbert, the fluffy guy in the can, celebrates. This is a sad part in our adventure, because the celebration does not last long. The can he's in starts to shake. Got a taste of his thick, beautiful blood. Now they need the rest. I like how the seagull is in the background. He's just like, ooh, you know you did. This was honestly the hardest part in the whole movie because that poor guy did not deserve that. Like, I think he's one of the only people out of the whole group that didn't deserve that. I mean, if he hadn't been in the trash can, he might have been one of those who died a horrible death. Now he's dying in the trash can with a male javelin on his face. I mean, this horrible. But my whole thing was, how the frick, if these things can't get through metal and all those things, were they able to get through the bottom of the frickin' trash can? Did his blood reinvigorate them to grow 10 times longer than they were? I'm telling you, this horror movie takes so many liberties because it doesn't just reach up through the trash can. It drags him through it. Really? It's clear by now that the monster is a lot bigger than it previously had been. Takes the car and Shonda falls backwards onto the hood and knocks herself out. When she wakes up, she's like, look guys, there's a raft on top of this policeman's car. We can get away through here. They step on the raft, which makes no sense because this monster has started popping car tires and stuff. It can't get through the raft. But then it chooses this time to be like, yeah, I don't want you guys to leave. Billy finds gasoline in the back of the police car and she starts throwing it everywhere. Since the thing doesn't like fire, it gets very upset. We've yet to see what this horrible monster looks like. Then it tries to open the car door. I'm like, seriously, of all the things. There's just so many ridiculous moments in this movie, honestly. But they get away, they're in the car with Vomit Boy, who basically is now dead, and I'm guessing that's why they're crying. They never really make it apparent that they realize that he was dead. The girl just picks up his hand and hugs it, and then she starts crying with the other girl. But in the morning, he's like dead as a doornail, and they just act like he hadn't even been in the car with them, so I'm guessing that they knew that he was dead at this point in the movie. I will give them that. At this point in the movie, when they're crying, they do shoot this for quite a while, and the pacing is well done. I think they were honestly really crying, and they got into their characters at this point, and that's an A+ for that. Good job. Vomit Boy, all he had to do for the rest of the entire movie was just act like he was sick. And just lie there. Closing time. I don't know why that song came into my head seeing this. It is now morning time, and this is when somebody finally decides to venture upon the beach. My whole thing was, oh my god, what if this is happening all over the world? But apparently it was just this beach because this egg washed up there. Maybe other eggs washed up on other beaches, who knows? This guy who rescues them has no idea what the hell's going on. They're like, is the sand safe? And they finally touch it and they realize that it is. And then he sees the dead guy and sees his stomach and he's like, what the hell? How are they going to explain this to people? How are they going to explain all those missing people who are now a part of that monster, who seems to be gone, by the way, since they can walk on the sand? Where is the monster, you may ask? Well, guys, we finally get a reveal of the monster, but it's not a total reveal. But the fact that it's not a total reveal, it's like a half reveal, makes it more terrifying. For the conclusion of this adventure, we see the tail of the monster, complete with all the little tentacles and hairs coming out of this big body thing that we can't really make out, making its way towards another beach what's heavily populated and where there's a city right behind it. The movie ends there. We know that the world is going to be over. Or will it? Because we don't even know if this thing, now that it's so big, will exist outside of the sand. Does it like evolve? Obviously, it went through an evolutionary process. Very quickly, within those few hours, those people were stranded on the beach. Maybe it goes on land and starts ripping people to pieces. Maybe there'll be a sequel for this movie. Please don't call it the sand too. Call it the asphalt. That's it for our adventure. I did say that to conclude our adventure, I would tell you the theory as to why the monster was able to tickle at different lengths when it pleaseth. My theory is that since our blood is magnetic, its little tendrils kind of act like that, which is why the blood on the barrel, it was able to grow long, because as long as there's blood or flesh around, its tendrils can stretch like a magnet to connect to that flesh. The creature doesn't seem to be totally conscious until it gets bigger, but when it's smaller, or when its hairs are smaller, God knows because it was really big before, or really fast, or maybe there's several of them, who knows? When you hovered your hand over it, the tendrils were very small, and like magnets, they were able to follow where the flesh was. Like a baby bird's mouth who's hungry until you shove a finger down its throat. I mean, a worm. Maybe it's not the flesh itself, but the smell of blood or the protein or whatnot. That's why when Vomit Boy was hovering over on the surfboard trying to get to the table, the tendrils were able to get longer because of the attraction to the flesh. When Fluffy Man in the can has blood pouring out of his body and it was filling up the can, they were able to break through the metal to get... Look, I can't really explain all of it. Look, it's just reasons that they do things in the movie just to further the plot. It's whatever. Alright, so that's it for our adventure. Honestly, this isn't the worst movie I've seen. I actually stuck around. I was like, let me see the rest of this. I mean, there were inconsistencies, but overall, it really wasn't a bad movie, to be honest. The concept was interesting. The fact that they kept the monster such a mystery made it an actually decent movie. Some of the acting was weird, but overall the movie made up for it near the end. It's actually one of them that I will refer to my mom, who is a big horror buff. Anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out with me on this adventure. Stay tuned for next Dumb Movie Monday, when we will watch another strange adventure. Feel free to leave your suggestions for dumb movies that you want to see on Dumb Movie Monday. Also, for the Logicaholic channel, don't worry, I've not forgotten about it. I'm still working on the Godzilla stuff. I have to put in sound effects and whatnot. I have to find the right stuff and slice it up a little bit. I made a mistake on one of the stuff and lost half of the footage. Well, not footage, but the audio. I found it, somehow it accidentally ended up in my recycling bin, and now I'm putting everything back together. Adventures on that channel will continue. Adults only. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.